So I'm from the Student Recruitment and International Relations Office, and I'm here with Sonia, who's the BSc Program Leader for Dance Science, and also with Emma, who's on the second year of the Dance Science program. So you can feel free to ask either of them any questions as we go through the session. So we have a few pre-submitted questions that were sent in to us prior to this event, which we'll go through and answer. But to begin with, I just wondered if Sonia wanted to say a few words about the program or anything not covered so far.
Yeah, so hopefully as you're here, you're interested in a slightly different focus to the BA. You may be considering both and you just want to get an idea of which one it might be right for you. You can apply to both the BACD and the BSc at the same time. Yes, we do have a different focus that we'll be going through. We're very new, so a lot of people are not quite sure what dance science is yet and what sort of things you will be studying. So we hope you'll be asking questions about that and how different it is to the BACD program that you've just been listening to if you've been in the BA. So yeah, I think we'll just kick off with some questions because that means that, you know, we're answering what you need to know because you've already seen the program presentation. So we'll get straight to the nitty-gritty of your questions, and Emma will also be able to answer them because she's gone through her first year. Just to let you know, we only have BSc 1 and now the new BSc 2 because that's all the students we have. We haven't yet got to BSc 3, so we haven't got any alumni or anything like that. So we're still very new. Yep. Kimberly's already put
yeah, and it's actually the question I had on my list as well as the first one. So what styles of dance do you cover?
The first thing to say is that we do technical training and technical practice on the BSc. So you will have between 4 and 6 technique-based classes on the BSc program because we think it's really important to understand your own body and apply your theoretical learning to your own body so that you can then apply it to other bodies and other contexts. So it's slightly different offer to the BACD where you get contemporary and ballet. We don't offer ballet. In the first year you will have 4 technique classes with the foundation program. So you're working with it alongside other students who will be doing Cunningham-based classes and release-based classes. You have 1 dance science technique class with me, which is based in my technical style, which is a Limon influence style, but it's also unpicking the theory of motor skills learning, physiology, anatomy, and different pedagogical challenges within that technique class. So it's theory and technique based. In the first year, you also have contemporary jazz for half the year. This year, and Pilates you have this year as well. As you move into the second year, so Emma will be doing classes with the postgraduate diploma course in release-based work, and also is coming into a street dance class later in the year, plus yoga to support the physical understanding, plus your dance science technique class with me again. Third year, we're still looking at what the technical offering is and where we think our students need to go. So we're using our current BSc 2s as our, you know, keep feeding back to us so we know where we need to go with you on this technical side of the BSc dance science. So a mix of styles that might be quite different than what you would get on the BACD. Yeah, but not ballet. We don't do ballet. Yeah, we're hoping to include a little bit more urban work if we can really think about how that works. Some maybe African styles, things like that. We haven't got there yet, but that's the thinking at the moment.
Great, and I wonder if this might be a good point to ask you, Emma, to maybe share a bit about what does your typical day look like? What do you do on a typical week on the course?
Okay, so on the dance science course, we have a mixture of like lectures and practical classes. So the practical classes are the ones that Sonia mentioned just now. And for the lectures, for last year, we had anatomy and physiology, we had nutrition, motor skills. And then for this year, we're doing performance psychology, analysis of performance. So the week is quite balanced, in saying that the number of hours of practical classes is about the same as the number of hours of lectures. So it's quite a balanced course. So you get to see dance in a scientific way and then learn how to apply it in your actual dancing as well. And then when you're dancing in the practical classes, you get to think about your body like anatomically and learn how to apply different theories that you have learned in the lectures in class as well. So yeah.
And it might be worth saying that our current students say they've got the best of both worlds in terms of they perhaps maybe didn't think that they would be technically training. Remember, we are in a conservatoire. We have teachers who teach at a conservatoire level. So you're getting a high technical training, even though the focus is not the focus of the degree. But they have made huge strides in their technical work because of their physiological and anatomical understanding and their understanding of how the body and the dancing body and mind work. So they've really streaked ahead technically, perhaps in a way that they didn't expect. Kimberly is asking, was it Kimberly that was asking questions about audition, and what was the other one? Kimberly,
yeah, and there was also a pre-submitted question about what standard of dance do you look for? So that might be, good to talk about that.
Yeah, so Kimberly, there isn't an audition for the BSc, there is an interview for the BSc, and we need to see your aptitude for engagement with the more scientific angle. I'm not saying you need to be a whiz in maths or chemistry or anything like that, but that we need an interest in dance, not necessarily a high standard of dance. So we have a little bit more broader capacity base or experience base on the BSc than we would have on the BA. It'd be a little bit more homogenous standard in the first year of the BA, whereas there's a much wider range in the BSc. But that's interesting because we see how different people learn and develop while we work together. But also some of the other classes are separated into 2 levels. So the foundation year is separated into 2 levels, and the BSc slot in the most appropriate place, and the same thing in the postgraduate classes in the second year. So there is no audition, you don't have to prove any dance skills, but you have to have an interest and some experience in dance. It'd be quite difficult to manage the learning if you'd never danced before, but you don't have to be, we don't judge you on your dance skills, we judge you on an interview and aptitude to work in that more scientific way. So yeah, I think I've answered that. I think I've answered both questions.
Right, yeah. And there was another question in the chat asking, are there any performance opportunities across the 3 years?
Yeah, so as we focus, because as Colin described and we described in the BA, it's on the performing aspects, the choreography, the technical performance side of things on the BA, underpinned by theory that supports that. And for the BSc, we get a more in-depth on the other side of things, the analytical side, the understanding of the body and mind. So we don't focus on the performance in the way the BACD does. There's a ladder up the middle that is technical practice, but on the BACD you get the performance side, and on the BSc you get more of the analytical side. And we go into some of the things that the BACD will do. Remember I said about PAD, learning about physiology, but much more depth on the BSc, much more in depth about how the mind and body learns, the motor skills learning, much more in depth. So no, the only performance opportunity on the BSc is collab. BSc students also have the opportunity to participate in collab and just have fun with all the other students. And a lot of people do have an interest in that. Maybe Emma can comment on that.
Another event that I did last year was working with I can't remember, like every week they have a group of older adults that come in to take dance classes and singing classes. So last year they needed a few dances and I applied for that event, and I got the chance to perform as well. So if you look for performances, you can perform outside of the course. And also, I also did the collab last year, which was really good. It was really fun because my group was a collaboration between musicians and dancers, and we got an exchange group from Michigan. So that was quite interesting, like learning like different cultures, and it was a lot of improvisation with the musicians as well.
Brilliant. And yeah, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, for anyone who missed this in the introduction bit, just to explain what Collab is. So it's a 2-week sort of a festival that takes place across all faculties at Trinity Laban. So this is in February. So for 2 weeks, all the usual teaching stops. The musical theatre, music, and dance science students work together on a range of different projects. So I think yeah, last year there was something like 70 different projects being put on, and we also have international visitors coming to Trinity Laban, and like Emma was saying about the students from Michigan collaborating with our students. So it's a great way to develop connections, networks, and also to learn skills, you know, more of these kinds of like project management skills, how to promote your project, how to do marketing, and how to network with others. So it's a really exciting time.
And also the master's choreography students, who are studying for, you know, they need dancers for their project, and sometimes they put out little audition notices, and the BSc students are absolutely, you know, able to apply to be dancers in those sort of projects as well, if it fits in with the curriculum, which it probably would.
Yeah, and there was actually a question that was pre-submitted about do students get to interact much with the MSc and MFA students? So is there anything else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, we're hoping to do more of that. Obviously, the COVID situation has, you know, meant that we can't all be in the same room at the same time, but we would have had some buddy systems. We would definitely, the BSc2s will be part of, will be subjects for the MSc and MFA studies, and they already have in the first year. That's part of, they have to do that. They have to participate in a study. So yes, and we hope to do more of that once we get back in the building and can rub up against each other a bit more.
Yeah. And then we had another question, which is more about the careers in dance science. So we were asked, like, what do past students go on to do? But obviously, as it's a new program, and you mentioned there haven't been any alumni yet, but what would be the typical careers that students would go on to?
So we have all of us who work in dance science have a little trouble calling us something ourselves. We don't call ourselves dance scientists. We, like sports scientists do, because it's a little bit broader than that. Colin mentioned portfolio career. I'm one of those people. I perform, I choreograph, I teach, and I'm the BSc program leader. I'm a dance science author. I'm a dance science researcher, and that's my portfolio. But what dance science has done for me is given me an insight and a depth of knowledge to apply to all these different areas that I practice in. So while we can't say what past people have gone on to do, what we expect from our graduates is that they will be a little bit ahead of everybody else coming out in terms of teaching, understanding pedagogically and motor skills learning, and understanding the body. And safe practice, big time, is really understanding how the body learns and works safely, the body and mind works safely. When the third years get into their third year modules, they do creative arts and health, how dance is really becoming a bigger part of society in terms of health, and what it can benefit, how the general population can benefit. So training strategies in fitness and in dance. Yeah, there's on the course, there's an exercise to music qualification that comes as part of the package. So you will be able to go into leisure type industries as well, with a really developed knowledge of the body and how dance can fit into that sector. Both of those things, creative arts and health and dance as fitness, are going to go like this, especially after COVID, I would say, because people are understanding now. You'll have seen it on the TV. One of the best forms of exercise for the general population is dance activity. And people who understand how dance activity affects the body will have a really good step up. And I would expect to see our graduates going in those sort of directions, and onto postgraduate research and study to contribute to the ever-developing world of dance science. Yeah. Emma, would you agree? Emma, would you agree to that? You're nodding away. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is a good place to ask Emma, what attracted you to dance science and what kind of career do you hope to go into?
So I wasn't actually looking for dance science because I didn't know such a course existed. So I was actually interested in biology, and I thought that I didn't want to become a doctor and I wanted to continue dancing. So I thought that maybe I should look into sports science or physiotherapy. And then I just thought maybe there's a double degree in like sports science and then dance science came up. So that was like the best of both worlds because I get to dance as well as study biology. And I think for me, what I want to do in the future is to probably work with like older population and to do like dance for health. So using dance as like a therapy or like a treatment to help older people with like dementia or Parkinson's. I think there's like quite a few like research studies based on that already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
sounds like you're getting some opportunities to do that already at Laban.
Yeah, I actually I'm thinking of applying for like a job application in Rambert because they're having like a application process where you work with people over 60 years old in like fusion dancing. So hopefully I get a job.
Great, fingers crossed for you. Yeah. Brilliant. And also, Sonia, maybe could you talk a bit about maybe the industry networks that the program has within the UK and more widely?
Yes. So Trinity Laban is a very active partner in the dance science world. We're very renowned. Our research is known around the world. We're forerunners in the field of dance science. So we're active partners in things like the National Institute of Dance Medicine, the International Association for Dance Medicine and Science. Our researchers, our staff, and our students coming through the MSc you can find them all over the world. Yeah, heading up programs in dance science, but also in safe practice. One of my specialities is safe practice for dance teachers worldwide. So safe practice is like the outward face of dance science. So Trinity Laban is very active in all those worlds. We're all on panels, we're all on, the companies come in to meet us, to work with us, to have their companies tested, for example. So there's a very big exchange with the industry. We don't have industry placements as such because we feel that we can offer, you know, all the opportunities that we can because of our contacts in the dance science world, because of our placement there. So basically the dance science community rubs up against some of these other institutions and are very connected to them. The organisations, the dance advocacy, One Dance UK, things like that, we're partners with everybody like that. So we're very much a part of decision making in dance science, but also dance training because of our dance science focus. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. Thank you. And I guess also a lot of these talks at the moment are, a lot of the connections are happening virtually. Yes. So there's maybe even more opportunities to connect.
And also, you know, the COVID response is being held by the dance science community. We've come to the fore in terms of looking at how we need to respond to COVID in this situation in terms of training, what we can and can't do, use of masks, things like that. So yeah, a lot of us are being asked to be on panels and things like that to help the art form cope with this sort of situation, which is very interesting, something we didn't think we'd be doing, but it's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that's really an interesting area of study there. And another question we had, so sort of how much contact time do students get, and like what's the kind of the number, like how many students are on the course, and what's the number of class sizes?
Okay. So our first cohort, which is Emma's cohort now, BSc2, is 8 students. That was the first year of the course, so maybe a smaller number than you'd expect, but it's really cozy, it's really sweet, it's really nice, we all know each other. There would have been a similar amount, perhaps even up to 12 this BSc1, but clearly there's been an impact because for everybody, for every course around the world, with people just maybe taking a little bit more time. So we have 3 students, one of which is international at the moment on the BSc1, but already for this coming year that all of you are interested in, we've had a lot of people coming back, and some people have deferred their places. So we are expecting a bigger cohort coming in this year. There's no limit. There are places available for people who want to come and study with us as if you fulfill the criteria. So there's no, unlike the BScD where there is a limit, at the moment we can accommodate those of you who want to come and work with us. Hopefully if we get very, very successful in the future and we have hundreds of people, we can't take everybody, but at the moment we want to work with everybody who wants to work with us. Number of hours on the program, Emma can say how this is balanced. She said it's already balanced. Probably around 16 to 18 in the first year, similar in the second year, and drops a little bit because of the dissertation, the time that it takes with the dissertation in the third year. So yeah, up to 18, maybe a little bit more hours a week taught, but then you're expected, what we call notional hours, which is self-practice is on top of that. Yeah, and a lot more research that you would be expected to do. Emma, do you want to add to that about how that balances out? I think you've already spoken about it, but does it feel, how many days you come in, how many you would have been expected to come in, what the day feels like?
So last year we had a 5-week day, so we were in the building 5 days a week, and some days were quite packed, but some days were not so packed, so it's quite balanced. And for this year, currently we have a 4-day week, but Fridays are online, and we don't have classes on Mondays. But I think that's going to change when we start term 2. So I think the number of days coming into the buildings, this also depends on the COVID situation. But yeah, I think the number of hours we're given to actually like self-study is very important, because there's quite a lot of information to process and like think through and try to like do your own research about the different subjects and stuff like that. So it's really important for like time management and stuff like that, but also to have fun and do other activities.
Yeah, and what about, could you tell us a bit about your accommodation? Because somebody asked in the chat, how does accommodation work? So we have student halls of residence, which are just across the road from the Laban building. And in those, usually priority is given to international students and first year students. So if you apply for a place in the halls, you could be living with Trinity Laban students from across the different faculties. Or you could be living with students from Greenwich University as well. And then there's another option for students to live privately. So you could, for example, we have a kind of, our accommodation team would put everyone into a sort of, I don't know if it's a Facebook group or some sort of online community where you can find other students if you want to live privately. And then you can rent a house together or a flat in the area in Greenwich or somewhere close to the Laban building. But Emma, it'd be great to hear your experience. Where are you living at the moment, and how did you find accommodation?
So last year I stayed in student halls, which was Macmillan. It was just like a 2 minutes walk to uni, which was really convenient. This year I'm staying with 2 of my classmates, and we found a flat in Charlton. Yeah, so it's a little bit further to travel, but it's good exercise and warm up to cycle or walk to uni. I think. Sorry?
Oh, sorry, you go on.
No, I was going to say start looking for places to stay early. it was a bit hard for me because I went back home in March, so I wasn't here to like view the places, so I had to depend on my flatmates to help view.
Yeah, it's very unusual year this year. How did you?
Emma is from Malaysia.
Yes, I'm from Malaysia. Sorry.
And so when you were coming into your first year, how did you, coming from Malaysia, how did you look for accommodation? Did you receive any support from Trinity?
I just looked at the website, and then they had an accommodation page, and then I applied for the accommodation. So there's quite a few different rooms that you can apply for in Macmillan. So and then after a period you get like given a room, and then you have to you can pay by installments or you can pay upfront. And that's it. Everything's on the website. It's quite all the information is there, so it's quite easy to access.
Great, thank you. I'll share the link in the chat in a second if any of you want to look up what the student accommodation looks like, but I just thought it would be useful to hear not just from us but also from a student who's gone through that experience of how they found it. Okay, I am just going to encourage you to submit any final questions in the chat, because we've got about just over 10 minutes left for the session before we go to the alumni panel talk. But I have one question which I know some students are thinking, and this is about students who are kind of undecided between doing the BACD or the BSc. I know that they are able to apply for both programs, but Sonia or Emma, would you have any advice for them on how to kind of decide which program is right for them?
I'll go first, and then Emma can talk about, because we've got people on the course who were really on the fence about, you know, whether should I dance, it's people who have got that seed that thinking, I need a few more answers about this dancing thing. It's great. I want to dance. I really enjoy the dancing, but there's something just not quite there that I would get from just performing. And that's the sort of person that would start coming to look at the BSc and thinking, maybe the mixture of the two, the best of both worlds, will be for me. So it's an interest in dance, but also a sort of hankering towards, you know, I need to know more about it. Yes, it is difficult in these early stages to think, is this for me or do I need to dance? Is this for me or I need to dance? And we absolutely understand that. And that's a decision that only you can make. If you want to dance, if you want to perform, then obviously you choose the BACD. If you want to dig deeper into dancing while still keeping your own dance skills up, then the BSc is the one for you. It is more analytical. There's a lot of, as Emma says, there's applying that theory, understanding that theory. So your brain works differently than on the BA. Not that your brain doesn't work on the BA. There's plenty to think about on the BA as well. But there's a different sort of depth in terms of the interrogation of the art form on the BSc. And yeah, we had one student who got accepted on both, came on the BSc and then had a little wobble and thought, oh, I'm not sure, I think I've made the wrong decision. And I said, just take your time. And that student has decided that she's absolutely in the right place. She's really developing technically, and she's really getting a lot out of the BSc, and she's really happy with her decision. I think I couldn't say how to make that decision. It has to be in your heart and your gut, I think. That you've got to decide what you want to do. So I would always encourage people to really think about which one you want, and Emma might be able to help you with that a bit more.
I think if you love dance and science and you want to have the best of both worlds, then the dance science course is really something for you. And I think for me, like what's the highlight of the course is that the integration between both the arts of dance and the scientific part is very important, and learning how to apply. And then I love when we go in a lab and do like lab works and learning how to do all the equipments, but also very dance specific. So last year we did a research project with one of the master's students regarding like a balance test. So that was something that if you're into like research and I don't know how to say it. Yeah, research and dance at the same time is dance science is the course for you. Yeah.
Kimberly, I didn't want to give the impression that when I said that we gave them time to think it's not, it can't jump too much, because if you think about what the different entry requirements are, is you have to have the academic, a little bit higher academic qualifications for the BSc, but also you have to get in by audition for the BA. So you can't go a back route into the BA because you haven't auditioned. And similarly, if you want to swap, we wouldn't discourage this, but if you want to swap from a BA to a BSc, it depends where you are in the scheme of things, because obviously right from the word go, the BSc is digging deeply into this more analytical approach. So we have got a direct entry into BSc 2 currently, and we've helped that person integrate. She already had some fitness qualifications though, so we've helped her sort of integrate and move straight into BSc 2. Now, it depends on the person at the moment, but I'm going to say, no, there isn't a way to swap. Let's say that straight up there, because of the different entry qualifications and because of the depth of study on each course. So if you go through 1 year of one, you'll miss an awful lot on the other. So it wouldn't be fair to say that, yes, you can swap. However, you know, we may be looking at that in the future, but in terms of BAs coming onto the BSc, if they have the prior knowledge, but you can't get on the BA through the BSc route, no, because of the audition.
Right. And just to confirm, you can apply for both.
You can apply for both,
and then sort of decide later, but just not.
Yeah,
just one or the other.
Not decide once you're on one that you want to go to the other. Yeah.
Right. And then we had another question from someone in the chat. Would you have time to take a few ballet classes on the side? And also, I guess it's a good question to ask, you know, because the training is intensive. How much free time do you have to do extracurricular things?
Yeah, Emma can answer that.
Yeah.
So they offer ballet classes after the normal days of classes. So like after 5, I think. Yeah. So I did a few classes last year where we joined people who were not from uni, like the public, that who could come in to do like ballet classes, and then they have different levels of ballet classes as well, but those are extra, so you'll probably have to pay for it. But as students, you get a discount. I don't know what I can say that, but yeah, you get a discount.
So we were talking about the learning and participation department before, and there's a whole raft of classes and workshops that are available for the general public. We have all weekend, we have about 500 kids coming in to do dance classes all day, every day at the weekend. And we have the retired, not tired people that Emma was talking about, the group, that a performance group there. We have disabled young people and older people coming in to work in the learning participation course program, and these adult evening classes in both contemporary and ballet and Pilates as well, and probably jazz and things like that. It's a little bit curtailed right now because obviously the numbers in the building have to be really seriously considered. So the BSc2s unfortunately can't join the ballet classes that they would have done because the general public take priority in the sort of less numbers. But yes, that opportunity is there, and they wanted to do some ballet because they thought it would really help their course. And yeah, you went as a group, didn't you? A few of you went together. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then unless we get any more questions in the chat, this might be our final question. So this is for Emma. What's been your highlight on the course so far? What would you say is your best moment?
What's my best one? I don't know. I just like studying, like the experience of studying overseas is very new to me, and like learning how to live, and yeah, the uni life is great. And I think I really enjoyed anatomy and physiology last year, and also yeah, I guess like the community, like you get to know like people from the different courses as well. And because we have like a conditioning studio, so you can book like self-practice times, or you work on your own individual fitness. And when you're there, you see people that you recognize, because there's always like a group of people that they want to work on their fitness as well, so you get to meet new people as well. And yeah, everyone's really friendly and yeah, accommodating. So
we have a Trinity Laban health department with physios and chiropractors and cranial osteopaths, massage therapists and things. But Trinity Laban Health also organises classes that for staff and for students that you can sign up for, a lot of which are free. But you have to book them, obviously. And that's another way of gaining, you know, extra work. Obviously, some of them are online at the moment, but we do have a big take up of that, so that you can work with your colleagues, but in your own front room, for example. So if you can't come into the building, you can still access the building in these classes. So Frida says, do you have access to studios in your free time? In theory, Frida, yes, the BScs will have 1 hour of studio practice time and some time set aside in the conditioning studio for just them. The performance courses have to create movement and things like that, so they get a little bit more priority. But yes, you will have some access to the studios in the weekends and an hour a week in your program. That is for you. Emma, sorry, I disturbed you there.
No, it's okay. So the classes that you can go to in the conditioning studio are free, and they have like a variety of classes, from like yoga to mat Pilates or equipment Pilates, strength and conditioning, and HIIT classes, so high intensity training. So those are really good and accommodated specifically to like dancers, or if you're musicians or MT students. So it's really customized to what you're studying. So I think it's really a good opportunity as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So unless you guys have any more questions in the chat, maybe this is a good time to take just a very quick 1-minute break before we come back to the main room at 7 p.m. So just stay in this call. If you want to have a little break, switch off your cameras and mute your microphones. But Rachel will invite all of us back into the main room, where there will be the alumni panel talk. So just stay here and you'll be put back into the main room. Oh, yes, Sonia?
If you have any more questions or you want to chat more, I know Kimberly, you said it's a hard choice. Yeah, if you want to talk things through, I won't persuade you. I'll just give you, just help you, make a decision and things. If people need to speak to me personally, we can arrange that. And you just, Eva will put my email in the chat here, and you can contact me directly, and I'm happy to have a Zoom chat with you individually before you make your applications, if you want to.
That's a really good point. So I've just popped Sonia's email in the chat. And also, if you are in the process of applying and you have any questions about the UCAS Conservatoires applications, I'll just put the admissions email in there as well. There we go.